I don't even know these other two dudes. I know one dude is jacked as fuck, and the
Bishop,
other
it's
guy,
Bishop Khan and
Bishop Khan,
Tiona
Fiona
Loa.
Luanga,
Yeah,
something,
Loa.
whatever. Um, and Brian Cage. Like you're talking about, it should not be the Mobile Embassy. It should be the Motley Embassy
And they
because,
look great. Let's say this, they look
dude,
incredible.
they
All
look
these
awesome.
guys, like obviously they should be in a wrestling ring, but what was this faction?
But they turned on him, and goddamn, thank God they turned on him because
Yeah,
I'm sure they didn't want to be in the Mobile Embassy either. I mean, they're not nothing
mobile,
made them a
mobile
Mobile
embassy.
Embassy.
Here comes trouble!
It's me. It's the Anthony T rolling once again with that BT double big trouble up the bishop, taking up the whole screen, and he got myself Nikki the Good, and we are the Meat Pop Express. And Ben, it wasn't that recent, but they were in France. WWE was in France. They put on Backlash. We
They
talked a
sure
little
were.
bit. We talked a little bit about it through rants and through our online shenanigans. But really, WWE's coming off one of the better pay-per-views. Obviously, there's a little international flavor going on with these B-level pay-per-views or PLEs going on right now. And I thought it was a fantastic show. It just goes to show the WWE ever evolving in the post Vince McMahon era. Triple H truly understands, hey, like I know that every piece of content I make can be utilized in a good way to deliver it to the fans. And what they're using right now are crowds, baby. The card may not be that strong, but the crowd sure as hell are. What do you think about this past weekend
Well,
program?
first, Nick, have you ever taken French in school?
Comment ça va?
Do you know any French? I know the conjugation of I am, je suis, tu es, il est, vous êtes, nous sommes, il est. I got that. Any friend,
I
anybody in France listen to the podcast, please let us know how our
I
French.
know I know that the French call the marks les incompétents.
Ooh, I know Keller Teal. What time is it? But I think that French crowd, and there was, of course, the internet's going to go back and forth, and they're going to, let's just talk about the crowd before we talk about the card. But the internet went back and forth about they're annoying, they're not annoying. I saw some talking heads saying this is too much. Some people are like this is the best. I'm going to take the opinion of, and watch out, the internet, IWC, everyone's opinion matters, right? Everyone's right, no matter
Nope,
what they
nope.
say.
Not everyone's opinions matter.
Nope, and it doesn't. He's 100% right, and that's the truth. But I'm going to take Randy Orton and what he said in an interview recently. And he said, I have had the same theme song for 15 years, and not one crowd in the United States has ever sang my song. Ever. It took 15 years for a crowd to sing his song. And he goes,
And
people say,
it's a pretty
it's an
easy song to sing.
Yeah, it's not a hard song. And it's been around forever. So why did it take so long? This French crowd ate it up, and it's not even their first language. And they're out there singing this song by Rev. Is it Rev Theory? Is that who sings it?
Oh, I
Yeah,
have
Rev.
no
I think it's
idea.
Rev. I think it's Rev
It could
Theory.
be Rev Theory.
Singing this Rev Theory song, they don't know. They don't. It's not, and not even in French. And they're just absolutely belting it at the top of their lungs like a rock concert. And you could just see how excited Randy Orton was just by the look on his face. I mean, that he wasn't working, folks. Like that was a genuine reaction about how excited he was. He was. It was cool. It was cool to see just like him just like this is incredible. Like
Well, he
I
was
thought it
all,
was
I
great.
mean, the fact that Randy, you're 46, 40, you're getting up, you're 46 years old, whatever it may be. And, he's at the point in his career where you can kind of tell he's taking it all in. And that
Exactly.
he's not, and this is what I'll say about the crowds. Like if you're really talking about whether the crowd was a good thing or a bad thing, again, you're missing the point. It's just a good time, man.
That's
It's
it. That's what it has to
backlash.
be.
It's not that serious. It's
Yep.
backlash. What's the alternative? What's the alternative? Just have regular backlash in like
Yeah.
another US state and it'd be fine and okay. You know what you guys would be saying? Why don't we do this in an international show? At least we'd have the
Mm-hmm.
crowd. You're never fucking happy. You're never happy.
Never happy,
Never,
never
ever
happy.
happy. Period.
But those are for our new rants, which are now on our YouTube channel, folks. Tune in to the 3 rants we had this week, please. But back to the crowd. I had to look up what they were saying after every count of two. Is simplement deux or something. I guess it was the French
It was
announcer
like
says this, and
1, 2. Oh, you only got
only
simply
two. I think it
two.
was
Yeah,
only
something like
simply
that.
two, and I think that's from the French announcer, which I heard. And I don't think it wasn't on the feed, but um, I guess they got like a roaring ovation when the French announcers came out. I didn't know they were that over in France.
Well,
Those two guys.
Well, here's the thing. It's like Sam Roberts, if you listen to his show, he broke down like almost every cheer that they did. He does an incredible job of kind of
Okay,
breaking
I
down
didn't
these
see
shows.
that. Yeah.
So if you listen to Sam Roberts' latest show, he actually talks about like what the French were saying, like the
Mm,
entire show and every single one, and like what the meaning was behind everything, which was pretty
okay.
cool. But that was Backlash. Obviously, we covered a lot in our rants with like the Jey Uso and everything. But here's the deal, folks. Here's the deal. These international shows are actually going to give you something to look forward to. We always complain about the lulls in professional wrestling, how post Mania, there's nothing to look forward to. It's like a chore. Like, oh, do
Hmm.
these matches even matter? I mean, at the end of the day, we just had WrestleMania. Now everything's starting to matter because what you're starting to see is that stars can be created from these international shows. Perfect
Yeah.
example, Tiffany Stratton in
Boom.
Australia
Yep.
at the Elimination Chamber. Once she came out for her entrance, you felt it in the crowd that everyone was like, this is
Hmm.
someone. Because if the international crowd is noticing you, they're really good indicators of whether or not someone has that sports entertainment next level charisma, right? That is
Hmm.
truly, to me, a big indication when you're not in just in the States. If you go overseas and you go to these other countries and you're super over for a reason that the people in the US didn't quite get yet, there's something there. People
Hmm.
love Tiffy time. And I think the
Oh, they
Australian
do.
crowd really brought that out.
And the French crowd too. I mean,
Yeah.
they were
Oh yeah.
behind her. They were behind her the whole time. I mean, well, I mean, and for good reason. For good reason. She's great, great looking, great
I
in the
mean,
ring. I mean,
every
she is an absolute star.
she's going to be the top girl. She's going to be the top
Oh
female in
yeah,
the division. Like
easy.
it's she I love like that the fact that her look is such a distinct difference to Rhea too, because like they could be on a
Hmm.
collision course and there's a perfect story you can tell there just based on like just what they look like.
They got
You
four. They
know?
got four women. They got four women right now that like really can build it all around with Tiffany, Rhea, Bianca, Jade. I mean, it. I
Yeah.
think it's there's going to be no lull in the women's division after Charlotte and Bailey and Becky. They're kind of on the
Becky's
back. They're kind
there,
of on the back
right?
end at this point. But so now it's into the new crops coming up, and there's not going to be there's no speed bump. They're just
Yeah.
going to take
And
off
I'll
where they left off.
And I'll also say that for the first time, it looks like Natalia is actually being utilized like correctly,
Hmm.
like as the
Hmm.
savvy veteran, like being put into these different places where she's kind of like a gatekeeper to the next level. I think that's
Oh
perfect for
yeah.
Natalia, you know?
The thing with Natalia too is like Natalia will never Natalia's finally starting to get her flowers. I mean, you got to remember, folks, Natalia's been there since on the main roster since what, '09
Right.
when they were the Hart Dynasty.
Yep.
Um,
Harry Smith and
with Harry
Tyson.
Smith
Yeah.
and her husband, yep, and TJ. Um, so she has been this good forever, and she's going through all these different iterations, like the Divas era, when the women weren't being taken as serious, but she was taking it really serious. And even all through this women's evolution, and now she's been through it all. So it's I'm happy she's finally getting her flowers. It's just taking so long. And Natalia is so good because if Natalia came up at this time and she was just starting
Oh
around
yeah.
this time,
Oh yeah.
she
She'd
would have been
be
in the same.
top.
She'd be oh yeah, she'd be in the same conversations with the Beckys and the Baileys and the Charlottes and the Sasha Banks. She would have been in that group, but
There,
unfortunately, she just came before.
right. There's also another female act, and this kind of will get us into kind of the next thing I want to talk about with WWE is that we got the King of the Ring, we got and King and Queen of the Ring, right, coming up on the 25th in Saudi Arabia. We also have Money in the Bank. We have Money in the Bank coming up. So the one female we didn't mention is who I think is an absolute superstar. I think that she is going to be someone that can be utilized for years to come because she's just so different talented in different ways. Chelsea Green, man, to me,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Ben, I want to get your take on who should win Queen of the Ring, King of the Ring, and who should be the Money in the Bank winners. Like, let's speculate a little bit here on the old Meat Pop. I know for a fact that I want Chelsea Green winning the Money in the Bank. Like I
Okay.
want her because I just think that she could do more with that from a comedic standpoint and also just a shock value standpoint. because like I could see Chelsea holding the title and just making the absolute most of it and just being a pain in the ass to everyone who's a character in the back, right?
Kind of like a Carmelo and Ellsworth was similar.
Yeah, but I almost think that she's almost better. Like I really do. Like
Mm.
I mean, she's like an actress. Like and Carmella's she
Yeah.
was phenomenal as well. Like she's a
Mhm.
top tier actress in WWE. But I think Chelsea was just her backstage persona of what she's got going on with like how she complains, how she escalates things, how she
Yeah.
wants to be treated a certain way. Having the Money in the Bank briefcase for her, and also like her character, that's how her character right now would win the title, right? Like it's
Mhm.
not going to be in a 40-minute like, ladder match. Well, I don't think so. But it would be like,
Mm.
here comes Chelsea Green. Oh my God, the shoe is about to
Yeah.
drop on this person.
Now I see where you're coming from. I think that's great. I think what fits her better is winning the Queen of the Ring. I
Oh
think
yeah,
that
I mean that would.
I think the comedy with
Well,
that
you
and
didn't get to the we didn't get to that my prediction.
we're just doing okay. Oh, you got
Yeah,
it
yeah.
both?
No, but continue. I'll let you can go.
No, I was
Well,
just gonna say
first of all, who do you want to win the women and men's Money in the Bank?
okay, so women and men's money in the bank. I think at this point where I see it going, I think Tiffany for women's money in the bank, I think it's got to be Tiffany Stratton. I just her trajectory right now, the response that she's getting, you got to capitalize on it. Where I think there was a major hiccup in capitalizing on somebody like LA Knight when he was really hot. I don't think they should make that mistake again. I mean I don't think that the shine is going to come off of Tiffany anytime soon, but you should just capitalize on it, and put the belt. I mean, put the Money in the Bank on her, have her win it. I think that'd be a huge ovation. Where is Money in the Bank again this year? Is it in? Not in
I
London.
don't,
London was last year.
no, I don't know where Money in the Bank is. So we got Queen of the Ring have Saudi.
It's in Saudi
Um,
Arabia.
yeah, Money in the Bank 2024 will be held in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Okay, so there you go. So another technically international. You know, you
You
could
know,
count that as kind of domestic,
you
but
know who's
half and half.
Canadian? You know who's Canadian?
Who's that?
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green. That's right. Vancouver, though. That's a big difference.
I
As
have
you
no
saw
fucking
last
idea.
night, and we'll get to it. You saw last night, Edmonton and Vancouver do not like each other.
I
So
saw,
they're
yeah.
playing right now in the NHL
Yep.
playoffs. But we watch sports, folks. We're not just wrestling. We're not just dorks. So yeah, no, I think you have to capitalize on Tiffany Stratton's momentum right now. Put the Money in the Bank briefcase
And for
on
the
her.
men's,
And for the men's, I'll let you go first. What do you think?
yeah, so I think for the King of the Ring, I think Gunther is that guy because not having him chasing a world title right now kind of is weird because he was so dominant. But I just don't think
Hmm.
I don't think he fits into any of the storylines at the moment. And I think the storylines are too strong with Drew, CM Punk, right? With all that
Hmm.
crowd, Damian Priest. I don't think he fits there yet. So I want
Okay.
Gunther to win the men's King of the Ring because he should have another title, but I don't think it needs to be the WWE Championship right now. I just don't
Hmm.
think it needs to get there yet. He needs a stronger feud to start before he gets there. Now,
No, I like that. Bring some
for
prestige to it as well.
for the Money in the Bank men's, I want Drew McIntyre to win it. I want Drew to win it because I want him to almost be on like a payback tour or like a revenge tour. I'd love LA
Hmm.
Knight to win it because I would love him to get a belt, but I really just don't think he necessarily always needs it. He just needs to be heated, but I don't think it needs to be Money in the Bank. Also, I just don't think it fits his character as a face. Like
Hmm.
I don't him cashing in on someone just doesn't work for me, brother. Uh for the females, right? So I had Chelsea winning Money in the Bank, but I also like your idea. I think those two events, it's Chelsea Green and Strat to me.
Hmm.
Like either or would work. I do
Yeah.
think seeing Chelsea Green call herself the queen, the green queen of the ring would
You see,
be
it works. It works. Yeah.
unbelievable. And I think
Yeah.
you're right. Like because as Matt would say, her husband, Cardona, she's super toyetic, man. Like, the outfits, just
Hmm.
having her own queen's, the queen's court, like
Yep.
having people call her queen, your highness.
Queen Green. Yep.
It's just she could the queen of green, queen green. I think that actually might be the play. Yep. You know what? Let's run it back. Let's
There you
make
go.
Chelsea Green Queen of the Ring, and let's make Tiffany Stratton have that Money in the Bank briefcase, and she's gonna bedazzle the shit out of it.
So as of now, we still haven't seen the SmackDown side of the Queen of the Ring. I'm looking at it right now because all we have is the Raw side. And it was Shayna, Zelina, Io, Natalia, Dakota, Lyra, Ivy, Zoe. Wow, a lot of Y's. And Io beat Natalia, Lyra Valkyria beat Dakota, and Zoe beat Ivy. So that's all we have right now. We don't have the SmackDown. We don't have the SmackDown side of the Queen of the Ring yet.
So they're
I
doing.
think that's
I mean, I don't
coming
know.
tomorrow.
I have no idea.
So we don't even know if Chelsea's in it yet. So
She's
hopefully
got to
she
be in.
is.
If she's not in,
Hopefully
it's
she
a
is.
fucking travesty.
The men
It's a fucking
is
travesty.
the men is filled up, and we still have to have, Gunther beat Sheamus. We still have Kofi and Rey Mysterio, which I heard is happening on a live event, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I do too.
putting on the match at a live event. But then we have AJ versus Randy, Baron versus Carmelo, LA Knight versus Santos Escobar, Bobby Lashley versus Tama Tonga, which is again interested putting Tama Tonga in this against Bobby Lashley in the first round.
I mean, I mean, I don't know what the brackets are, but it's got to be LA Knight versus.
I'm looking at this, and I think it is a. I think you're right. I think it is. I think it's a collision course. LA
That's a
Knight
collision
versus
course, right?
Gunther
That's what it has to be.
Man, that's tough. That's a tough final because I can see it go both ways. When it comes to the King of the Ring it's a very heel gimmick, right? So
Yeah.
like if you're gonna put it on somebody and you want it to mean something, because I know Xavier Woods got it, but it was always like it don't seem like a joke where he's like, I always wanted to win this, and he
It
won
was
it.
still well, it was still Vince.
It was still Vince. So
Vince doesn't give a fuck. Vince was like, let's just have King of the Ring. Let's make some money off it real quick, and then we move on to the next thing. Triple H, I don't feel would do that.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna weave the motherfucking King of the Ring into into the stories.
I see if anybody can do it with a babyface gimmick, I could see LA Knight being a king, having a king gimmick, but making it fun as a babyface. So like I could
know,
see
but like I don't know, man. Like it's a dick gimmick. Like you need to, if you're gonna become King of the Ring, it's either you got to be super serious about it, super like where like you're like I'm the king because I'm the best, or you just.
Now,
like Gunther is just going to be announced everywhere as the King of the Ring, and it will be like a prestigious title he has won. Like the other end would be like if R-Truth won King of the Ring, like that he could win King. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, that's just how I feel about it. I think Gunther has to win. I don't see how you even how are you going to give him a loss? How are you going to give him a loss?
That's so true. And but now we're getting the slippery slopes of LA Knight of like, is he's becoming
too many losses.
He loses to every big match. So now it's that. So I don't know if I would have it be LA Knight in the end. I think there should be some type of like finish where LA Knight maybe loses in the semifinals against. You could either
keep him strong, but like who you're putting in the finals, like Bobby Lashley.
I mean, you have AJ, Randy, Baron, and Carmelo, who it could be going up against LA Knight in the semifinals.
You could have Carmelo make a run, and if you want to make him a star without having him
win. You could. I think that'd be a great idea. You have Carmelo get a bunch of quick finishes, quick wins. Let's say he beats Baron Corbin, and then it's AJ or Randy, and boom, oh my God, he takes one of them out. A quick roll up, 1, 2, 3. And then he beats LA Knight and he goes on and gets beat by Gunther. I think that's a better way. I think it should be Carmelo Hayes actually and Gunther in the finals of the King of the Ring.
Not bad, not bad. Now, the other stuff that's going on with WWE outside of just the events is the storylines have been popping lately, man. And like it's not just Bloodline anymore. Bloodline's fucking hot as hell again. I mean, you're talking about so much depth going into that storyline again. So like when Heyman said in that press conference like over a year ago, like when at 39 after 39 when they retained that, he's like, we're only in the third inning or whatever, we're just getting started. Maybe it had nothing to do with just Roman. Maybe this was because of the entire Bloodline story arc, that's what we were referring to. But outside of the Bloodline story, and let's get the Judgment Day out of there too. Let's throw the Judgment Day. Other than the Judgment Day and the Bloodline storylines, which have been the two probably strongest ones, I would say, across the board, what's your favorite storyline going on in WWE right now?
I mean, right now, and it's amazing how good it has been without any physicality. Really, basically any physicality. I mean, I think it's gonna be CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah,
and I don't think there's a close second to them right now. besides like the bloodline. They might be, and since Roman's not around right now, and it seems the bloodline's kind of everyone's trying to figure out what's next, and it's still going on in like kind of the periphery. I think front and center, Punk and McIntyre, and not just in the ring on social media. They're just continuing. They're putting everything, every effort into this right now, into this storyline.
WWE has
with no physicality, no
WWE
matches, nothing.
Someone put up a tweet the other day. They've mastered the ability. I think it was Raj maybe about how WWE has gone back to and mastered the ability to take guys with injuries and continue to keep them relevant and in the stories and utilize them. Versus back in the day with Vince, you tear your tricep, you're gone for 4 months, you're off TV. I can't use you. Right.
Yep.
But now
you
CM
can do
Punk
commentary,
injured,
you can do promos.
Drew McIntyre injured, and they have the hottest storyline just because of social, of just little jabs left and right. Right? Just small spots that they can do even though they're hurt. Utilizing production with the how, Drew chased CM Punk throughout the arena and ended up in the suite, and we closed that segment that way. Those type of things. For me, my favorite segment, I mean, obviously that's the one that's my favorite, but I'll throw two at you that I'm very interested in. Number one is the rise of Chad Gable. Chad Gable being a heel, being very, I would say, condescending to his Alpha Academy. That's one. And then the other side of it is his chase of the Intercontinental Championship and the fact that it's just becoming more vicious. Like he's just becoming more vicious, more of a dick. And he's getting over, man. He's getting over. He can go on the mic. He is literally a mini version of Kurt Angle and Kurt Angle's ability.
He is. He's like, we're getting that like 2006 Kurt Angle, that ECW Kurt Angle, but he became more vicious in that TNA, the start of TNA Kurt Angle.
Yeah, but he's a good talker, and but his cadence is very distinct to his character. He's not like whimsical talker, right? He's not gonna like.
No, he's very matter of fact.
Right, he's very matter of fact, but he doesn't stutter. He knows where he's going. He has direction. And then you have Sami Zayn with a great story on the other end, holding the Intercontinental Championship. Uso's going to be involved in that, I'm sure. Like all of that's going to come to a head. And I think Chad Gable eventually has to screw job somebody into getting that title potentially.
And people got to realize this. And folks, if you don't know, and there's the individuals in the IWC out there who've never done anything athletic in their life, who their caloric intake is over 7,000, 8,000. Their caloric intake might be 500 in a given day because they're typing too much on Twitter or X. Do you understand that Chad Gable is a killer? Chad Gable was he an All-American? He's a substitute on the US team. So yes,
he's a top flight world wrestler.
And if you don't know sports, you don't know UFC, some of the best UFC fighters on average are usually come from a wrestling background.
Yeah, wrestling background.
From a Greco-Roman or, an amateur wrestling background. This guy could twist, he could put into a pretzel probably anybody on that roster right now. Like the same way that Brock Lesnar could and Shelton Benjamin could and Kurt Angle could. It's the same way. They're all wrestlers. Charlie Haas, we can go down the list. This guy's a killer. And now he's showing that, like, I'm not just a joke. I'm not just Shorty G. I'm not just like the happy-go-lucky shush guy. The guy can go, and the guy's a killer. So
I think the word you're looking for
he's finally taken serious.
In professional wrestling, there's this word that you can't throw around very often.
Yes.
But he's what I like to call legit. So when Brock Lesnar's in the ring, there is a level of believability there because in real life he could do these things, and the other person he's in the ring with would actually be helpless.
And it's the same thing with Matt Riddle. Same thing. Like he's the same thing. Like they bring legitimacy to it.
I saw Riddle in Riddle's interview with Chris Van Vliet. Right, Van Vliet brought up the whole Goldberg like drama, and Van Vliet was like, well, did Goldberg have an issue with it? He's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, I would smash his face. Like, I'd beat the shit. Like, he knows that. Like, he's like, I'm a killer. Like, I'm not. This isn't a game. This isn't something we're discussing. Like, Joe Rogan always says on his podcast, like, he's like, you get some of those guys that are like, you don't know if I just get angry. He's like, no, I know you're gonna get your ass kicked.
Yeah,
100 out of 100 times. These people are skilled, trained killers. That's
Yeah.
what they are. So when Chad Gable gets in the ring, as soon as he marries that to his character, it's a wrap. It's like Bret Hart, right? Like Bret Hart was the excellence of execution in a professional wrestling ring.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ever put him with like a Kurt Angle, you just get eaten up. Like it doesn't matter if you're in
You know,
it
man,
doesn't
it's
matter
just
if you're in the fucking dungeon. It's a wrap. It's over.
yeah.
You know?
There's a different level, folks. And Kurt, as badass as Brock Lesnar was, and we'll I don't want to go on a tangent here, but as badass as Brock Lesnar was and still is, Kurt Angle beat Brock Lesnar in a
Yeah,
wrestling
and
match, and 70 pounds lighter than
right.
Brock Lesnar. He
Yeah,
beat him.
and he probably had multiple neck surgeries.
And Lesnar was a NCAA champion, but Kurt was an Olympic champion. And that's
Right,
how
there's
the
the
difference
difference.
is there. That's crazy.
And then moving along, so that's WWE for the week, right? Nothing major totally happened. We had
Nothing
one
crazy.
title, one title change with Jade and
Which I think we all saw.
Bianca,
we all saw
which we all saw coming. That's great for Jade. Perfect person to pair her with when it comes to matches. I mean, again, it just goes back to Triple H is so fucking smart. Like, yeah,
Yep.
don't have Jade just do it by herself. Give her literally the perfect person to be in a tag with and give Bianca something to do. And now Bianca has another title reign, and now Jade can be protected in the ring while looking awesome during her spots.
Oh.
By the way, Springboard, she looked great. Everything she was asked to do, she looked pretty great.
No, she's doing great, and you can see that the training that she has gotten in NXT is really paying off.
Yeah.
And she's I mean, we knew it, we called it. She's going to continue to get better. And
That's right.
I mean, I think the collision course now is Jade Bianca in WrestleMania 41.
100%. You could lock that up. Moving into AEW, a little bit of AEW talk. Been quiet ever since they kind of picked up steam a little bit. I still think they're doing a little bit baby steps of making better programming week to week. There's still some holes, obviously, that I think everyone knows. They're pretty apparent. But the big thing that came out of Dynamite, which I just thought was hilarious, because then I talked to Ben about this. I texted him during it, and I'm like, hey, the Mobile Embassy turned on Swerve. And Ben, what did you ask me? What was the question you asked me?
Who's in the Mogul Embassy?
And I told you one guy. Who was the guy that I told you?
Brian Cage.
Brian Cage. Listen, the Mobile Embassy, and this is nothing against Swerve, but clearly this was a play of like, we got a bunch of guys with nothing to do, right? Like, because this wasn't when Swerve was Swerve. Like, you would never put these guys with Swerve if Swerve was who he is right now.
No,
you would not. That was a thrown away. We're talking, I don't even know these other two dudes. I know one dude is jacked as fuck.
Bishop Khan and
Bishop Khan,
Tiona
Luanga, something, whatever. And Brian Cage. Like, you're talking about, it should not be the Mobile Embassy, it should be the Motley Embassy. Because
and they look great. Let's say this: they look incredible.
Dude, they look awesome.
Guys, like, obviously, they should be in a wrestling ring. But what was this faction?
But they turned on him, and goddamn, thank God they turned on him, because I'm sure they didn't want to be in the Mobile Embassy either. I mean, they're nothing made them a Mobile Embassy. It will go down, and I'm sure Swerve is happy to be done with the Mobile Embassy too. He don't need them. He needs Nana, the dance, the theme song, and just be able to do Swerve. He does not need this Mobile Embassy. I'm happy the Mobile Embassy became mobile and got the fuck out of there, because
mobile, you're right out of here.
And also for that Simone in the group, you gotta be thinking
I think he's
probably like, yo, Tony, let's break up the Mobile Embassy, because there's something going on at the other spot. And if I can get out of my contract right now, I'll go on the indies, just show everyone I'm Samoan, and maybe I get the fuck out of here and get in the bloodline. Because if I'm that Samoan, and the other dude too, he could probably pass too. Call him
Cameroonian.
He looks a little Tongan. He looked a little Tongan to me.
He is Cameroonian.
What's that?
Cameroon.
Cambodia?
The country of Cameroon. The country of Cameroon in Africa.
Ben.
That's it.
Ben.
It's all right.
You cannot expect me to know that's a country in
Cameroon.
Ben, yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ben. I'm sorry. Are you fucking with me right now?
Cameroon is a country. Cameroon's a country.
The fact that you're even the fact that you're remotely disappointed with the fact that I don't know that is crazy. That is the craziest thing that's ever been said on this show.
Oh, Nick doesn't know the country Cameroon. So if you have any listeners in Cameroon, I'm very sorry that Nick doesn't know where you guys live.
I'm not sorry.
No, he couldn't point it out.
I'm not sorry.
West Africa.
That I have never heard that word used in my life. And I've been on this earth for almost 39 years.
Oh.
So the Mogual Embassy is dead. Thank God. Was it ever alive? Probably not. We got the learning tree with Big Bill. Jericho, I don't understand, man. He just
I don't
makes
know
me
anything
laugh.
anymore,
Listen,
man.
he
I don't
just
know.
makes me laugh at this point. This is his 75th gimmick in AEW. Every 2 months, this guy, and I know Jericho, man. If you follow Jericho like I have, and I followed Jericho since 96, he's been my guy. I always find his humor funny. I know that this motherfucker is sitting there with the Yeah Boy, which is his just straight vodka on the rocks, vodka water, whatever it may be, just listening to some sweet tunes, some metal rock, and just like sipping and just being like, I'm gonna go with the learning tree.
The learning tree. Who knows anymore?
He's
You know what? Just have fun,
Dude, he's
Chris.
coming out in the tights, man. He's coming out in the tights. Big Bill looks like a fucking monster.
Nah, he
Like,
looks great.
but finally, I'm happy for Big Bill because he got to get something. Like,
Do
you
something.
can't look like that. Ben knows this. You can't look like this and just not be used. What does this guy got to do?
Ain't that the truth?
What is that fucking guy got to do to be a world champion? Look at him. He is no one looks like him. Like, Ben, you're as tall as him. You're taller than him, right? Are you taller than
I'm a
Ben?
little taller than him.
Yeah, like he just like what
He
he
looks
has done
unbelievable.
body transformation is second to none.
It's
I mean,
unbelievable.
he is with the problem with him is he is WWE ready. Like he's WWE ready. But he's not in WWE. So now he's in the learning tree. But at least it's something. At least he's working with the guy who he probably worked with in the past in some way, you know, when they did, Enzo and Cass and whatever like that. But I just thought the learning tree was so funny. And the other thing that we'll talk about here is, AEW, I think Double or Nothing is the big thing that's going to be coming up soon. I saw Britt Baker, man. I saw Britt Baker. She
looks yoked.
Dude, she's been popping up online. She's been doing small spots, not too much of a presence online. The NFL season's not here, so the Steelers, she's not freaking out online about the Steelers, right? But she's been, she's with DDP, man, getting ready.
My guy, Diamond Dallas Page.
Your guy, DDP. Why? If you're going to DDP, you're getting ready for something. I don't know what it is, but you're getting ready for something. So we got Double or Nothing coming up with them. I'm not too familiar with what the card could potentially look like, but you got to think it's supposed to be the coming out party for Mercedes Moné. Finally, that's the big deal for that one. It's Mercedes Moné in the ring for the final time. We'll probably speculate more about that as we go on. But I just wanted to call out, man, that we see Britt Baker, man, she's showing the guns off online with DDPY. Because if you with DDP, you're feeling good. You're feeling ready.
That's right. Get those power cuffs, folks. They work. The power cuffs work.
Yeah, Ben, we got anything else, man? Anything else you want to talk about? What you got going on?
I don't think there's anything else. Not too much going on. Memorial Day weekend, MomoCon here in Atlanta, 3 days. It's an anime convention. I'm not big into the anime, but there's wrestling. There'll be wrestling. Zicky Dice putting on his Outlandish Paradise for 3 days at MomoCon. It'll be a great time. A lot of good wrestling to be had. A lot of fun to be had. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, well, no, that's fine. Actually, Ben, so you froze on Zoom for a little bit there, so I actually don't know anything you said. But we're gonna keep rolling with it.
We're gonna keep it going because we don't edit. I called out all the fat lazy marks.
I assume you were, I assume we were doing that. I just want to call out
storm here.
I just want to call out, that's probably what it is. I want to call out is that, obviously, we didn't go in on the sloppy, disgusting, hot pocket eating, friggin', just eating the most disgusting.
Dr. Pepper injecting into their veins.
Yeah, Mountain Dew sipping losers. We didn't really address them here because we've been throwing some rants up on YouTube individually just because we think these marks deserve more attention. They want our attention. Now they've got it. We're going to police your ass. But that's pretty much all we got for this week. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like. Make sure to do everything else to help this fucking algorithm push us to the goddamn moon where we deserve to be. But Ben, you got anything else to say to these marks?
Nothing else besides keep it positive, keep it trucking, and keep the shades on because the sun never sets on a cool guy.
Later, marks.